Hello, hello, everybody. This is Christina Hill with Hill Family Practice. I am your health coach, certified health coach, specializing in emotional eating, and I have my co-host on here with me, Mr. Sean Hill, which is our digital creator. And today, I don't mind me, please. I have my notes with me again, once again. And what I do is I just want to make sure that I capture everything because it's so important that I give you guys all the information that you need. Okay. All right. And Mr. Hill, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing wonderful, dear. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Excited about the show as always.
Oh, good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. Just to revisit a couple things before that we had last time. We believe in two different plates. We have your primary plate and your secondary plate. Your primary plate is your career, finances, exercise, spirituality, and relationships, and how they affect your secondary plate, which is your food. Okay. So anytime any of those are out of balance, we then find it showing up on our secondary plate. Okay. So that's what I want just to revisit really quick so you'll know kind of like how these things flow into your life and how they affect your nutrition and your eating. All right. All right. Okay, well, I'm so glad to be here with y'all today. So let's jump in. The first sign of emotional eating is eating in secret, where you go get something and instead of eating in front of your family, you go and you maybe pull in a parking lot and you eat it there, or you wait till everybody goes to sleep and you go get it out and you eat it alone. That's the first sign of eating, first sign of emotional eating. And this usually comes from you're being secretive. You don't want you feel ashamed. You just don't want anybody to know that's what you ate. And so that's the first sign. What do you think about that, Mr. Hill?
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, a lot of times, like you said, it's a lot of shame based. It could be somebody is even afraid of what that person is going to say, being judged.
Mm-hmm.
You tried diets so many times, and so instead of having to hear the "I told you so's," they just go and do this in secret. And like I like what you say all the time, baby. It's not. This is not to beat anybody up. uh,
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do is just identify things for you, because a lot of times we do things and we're not aware of them. We just
Yeah,
do them
exactly.
and it just becomes a habit. But making people aware that, hey, it's okay if you're doing these things, just be aware of the root cause of it is really important. So hopefully this doesn't make you feel even more shame. This is just hopefully making you aware of, wow, I didn't know that's the reason I was doing that. Now I know how to move forward. So yeah, I think it's great, sweetheart.
Yes, and that's exactly true. What we practice in our relationship is the same thing I practice in my own practice. Is there's no shame, there's no blame. I hold space for you to be your authentic self. There's no judgment. Just here to help you on your road to a better health. Okay. So none of these things are to make you feel bad or feel ashamed. And if you find yourself doing any of these things on the list, you can see above. You can reach out with me, and we can have a little talk, a little 15-minute conversation about maybe what your plan would be to move you along on your health journey. So let's go on to number two. Number two is not only eating alone in secret, but it's adding that hiding the food bag. So you're not only eating in secret, but say you bring that bag home, you're putting it at the bottom of the trash, or you're hiding it in a closet, or you're hiding it in your purse or your bag, or you're just hiding the food evidence, the evidence of the food that you were eating. And that goes back to um, one of the things you want to look at is, why do I feel I need to hide? Why can't I be my authentic self? A health journey is just that, it's a health journey. So why am I hiding this bag? Why am I hiding this food? So you're not only eating in secret, now you're hiding it as well, the evidence of what you are eating. And so That is number two. Okay. And number three, eating food that we consider bad. So we don't eat that food in front of anyone. Anytime someone sees us eating, we're eating something very nutritious. We're not having that extra slice of, cheese or fat or whatever it is. We're not having an extra slice of cake in front of them, or we may ask for a little bitty piece of cake, or we may ask, just for a salad, one of those type of situations where no one ever sees you eating bad food, which we consider bad food. Everybody has their stigmatism on all food right now. Just, it's basically how much you eat, and we'll go into that much later. But just that you're always putting on this mask, almost like, this is who I am out in public, but this is who I am on the inside. And then it causes suffering, and it causes you to feel bad about what you've done. And so that's number three. That's the number three is a signal: never eating bad food in front of others. Mr. Hill, you have anything on that?
Absolutely. Let me give a shout out. I know you can't see this because you're so involved with the broadcast, and I'm behind the scenes. I'm doing a whole lot of stuff. Give a shout out to our wonderful friend Lorena for sharing the show. Much love to you, dear. We miss you. We miss you. We miss you so much. But that's not why you guys came here. So let me get back to the show. But I did want to give her a shout out.
Thanks,
But yeah,
Lorena. I miss you, babe.
eating those bad foods, but never in front of others. Once again, that's just that sign. All of this is shame based. All of these are just signs that, we have to put on a mask. We have to be somebody that we're really not. And I think it's more important for you to be honest with yourself and with others than it is to, do these type of behaviors, because a lot of times what this then does, it goes to eating disorders.
Yes.
There's a whole. I'm certainly not versed to even talk about those, but I'm just saying that's kind of how it begins. Or we eat one way, and then we go and do something different to kind of negate that. I'm not going to go into anything in detail, but I'm just saying these are the type of things that we want to make you aware of, so that you don't have to feel that shame. That my wife is here. We're here to love you. We're here to let you know that you're okay. You're not a screw up. There's not anything wrong with you. We just want to help you reach your goals. So just once again, hey, that is so spot on, because I'm sure we've all done that at one time
Oh,
or another
yes.
in our life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, we have.
but yeah, keep doing great, baby. You're doing wonderful.
So number four is, after you've eaten the bad food, you feel shame, you feel sadness, you're anxious about it, you feel guilty, uh, and you feel a sense of worry. You feel out of control. You know, that's number four. It's like, oh man, I shouldn't have ate that. I went and I exercised today, and um then I went and I had my shake today, but then I came home and I ate A, B, and C, and I ate too much, and that feeling of shame. And these signs, guys, aren't just like one-offs, okay? These signs are stuff that happen repeatedly. Okay. We all have one-offs. Okay, doesn't mean you're an emotional eater, but these signs are for people this is something you do on a regular basis. Like you're hiding the food, you're eating alone in secret, you're hiding the containers. And now when you eat, you're feeling shame, you're feeling guilt. And this is happens repeatedly. Okay. And so that's what we're looking at. Or you're doing something to control. You feel like you're controlling it, like you got a tight grip on it, meaning like, okay, I'm only having celery, I'm only having this, I'm only having this, I'm only having this, I'm only having this. And that right there, and if you break that, then you get that guilt. That's number four. That's where all this comes from. And number four, you feel shame because you got off your plan, or and this is a constant thing. It's not just, like we said, a one-off. This is a constant thing. You can see this repeatedly happen to you. Now, number 5, we have digestive issues after you're eating, like you're suffering physically after eating. And we're not talking about people who have digestive disorders. We're talking about you ate a lot of junk, a lot of stuff that wasn't good for you, and now your stomach hurts or you can't sleep, you're restless. That type of thing is what's happening after you're eating. And you find on a repetitive thing that this is happening to you. Now, anytime you have any type of physical ailments after eating, you may want to pick up the phone, guys, and call the doctor and get real with them. Okay. That's what they're for. But I just want to make you aware, anytime you're suffering with eating issues and digestive issues, even weight fluctuations, like your weights, you're doing real good and then you just do real bad. So your weight goes way up, or like for the people who are the opposite, their weight goes way down and they're not at a healthy weight. Either way, this is another sign of emotional eating. Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to share a little bit of something with you guys. I saw this show the other night, and this young lady, she was considering bariatric surgery. And first of all, I want to say there's nothing wrong with bariatric surgery. What you do with your body, it's your body. That's how I feel about it. That's my personal opinion. That's just how I feel about it. And she was, I could see that she was an emotional eater, and by the things that she was saying and everything. And even the doctor kind of picked up on it. And he was like, well, I really want you to go home and think about this, because people think that once you have surgery, you're instantly skinny. I'm testimony of that you're not instantly skinny. You have to be mentally prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared. Usually they go through a checklist with you. Once they check that off, then, hey, they're like, okay, you can have the surgery. You really don't, and they roll out the red carpet. But once you have the surgery, this carpet gets rolled back up. You're at home on your own, and you got to figure out what to do. They give you a list of foods and some things to eat and try. You really don't get much counseling. Okay. And they think that's really what the doctor was preparing her for, is the aftermath. Like, you have to be mentally ready for this. And I was just wanting to just go through the screen and just say, hey, I'm here to help you. I can help you with this. I can help you come up with a plan that helps you reach your goals after this is done. Because there's going to be a lot of different emotions that you go through. And these emotions can disrupt your weight loss. Like we said, you're doing well. And then all of a sudden now you're eating in secret, you're hiding the bags again. You're back to those same behaviors. And that's what we want to stop. We want to start really looking at our behaviors so that we can correct them and then move on and get better. That's what it is. And you're not going to conquer everything in one time. You just want to conquer one thing and just be able to, get that down, make it a habit, and then go to the next thing. And that's what health coaching is all about. It's helping you come up with your plan for your body. Okay. Once again, your plan for your body and what your body needs and how we can help you get to your goals. And for this young lady I saw on TV, my heart went out to her. I was like, oh, honey, please get someone in your corner that's going to be able to help you with these emotions that's going to come up after you've had your surgery. And so that was what I wanted to share with you guys, that true story I saw and part of mine. You have to be mentally ready for health coaching. Okay. So when we have the 15-minute conversation, we're just going to be talking and seeing if you're really ready to take on the challenges of that primary plate, whatever area in that primary plate that's off, that is affecting your secondary plate, which is your food. Okay. All right, y'all. And we've said all this out of love. And also, Mr. Hill, did you have anything you wanted to say about any live examples that you have seen or that you've went through?
Well, yeah. I mean, I went through with you. Just that, a lot of people think that this is very serious surgery when we're talking about, this type of surgery. They think that, well, I can just have it. It's no big deal. It's just like anything else. As long as I just can qualify for it, I can get it. But there's a lot that goes into it. And here, I went through this with you. Here is the sad part, just like a lot of things, especially in the medical community, there's a lot of care up front when the money's there, but then on the back end there's not a lot of support because there's not as much money. There's no money in support, right? So we've got the money now, we've done the surgery now, or we've done this thing now. So there's really not that same level of care and concern after the fact. And I'm so glad that you're here because that's what you do. You're bridging that gap. You're holding that space for people who've gone through not just even this, I mean, any kind of diet, because a lot of times people will join gyms. And of course, if you join a gym, and unless you get the training right, you just join the gym and you just become part of that, or you're become part of a special diet club. But there's not a lot of support, and there's certainly not a lot of support the way you provide it for, with a, not that you have a medical license or anything, but you have a background of medical understanding, if I can call it that, that you can be that liaison between the doctor and that, that person, that patient, to really break down. Because I know a lot of times when we go into doctor's offices, they may see us 5 minutes. They don't really know you. They
True.
may see us
Very true.
10 minutes once a year for your annual physical. But there, we've gotten away from that old school doctor that's going to be there for you, and that's going to, you're going to spend time with them, and they're going to get to know you. Now they just get to know your symptoms. And so what I'm so happy and proud of you for is that you are that person that kind of stands in the gap, that holds that space, that
Yes.
is now willing to let that person speak, willing to let that person lead. I know you're going to do a whole show on this later, but there's so much uh, in our medical community where patients don't feel heard. They don't feel like their concerns matter. They're
Hmm.
just, patted on the head and told, "Oh, you're not really in pain. Oh, that's just this. It's just that." And I'm so proud of you for holding that space for people. And then, I just thank you for that. But that's all I had to add, just from personal experience, seeing it firsthand, the lack of support that's out there.
Yes. And we're not talking about like support you to like a group. We're talking about that one-on-one support that is created specifically for you and what you're going through. And also, I like to add that in my training that I've had is that I'm able to write up those notes for the doctor and to send them to him or her so that they can see your progress, and then they get a story of who you really are and are able to be more targeted in their treatment for you. And so I am trained to do that as well. And so we hold space for you. We're able to write those notes to your doctors and let them know what you're doing, how you're following their plan. I can even talk to them if you want me to, or if they allow it. I can talk to them directly, and we can go over what has been going on with you physically, what you've been doing, what you're working on, so that they can provide you the best treatment that they can. Because most doctors aren't trained in nutrition. They're just not. That's not what they go to school for. So that's why you have to have your nutritionalist. You have to have a health coach that bridges that gap between you and the nutritionalist, so that we're able to get you on the road as a team. We work together as a team. We are all here in our own specific specialties to help you as a team to get you to your optimal health. And as I said, my loves, it's a journey. Okay. All right. So, since we talked about that, one thing I always want to leave you guys with is a tool for your toolkit, something that you can do that will help you when to understand more about yourself, more about your eating habits, and stuff like that, and how to cope. So, this one today, people like to call it your story, your eating story. But it looks like this, and there's 10 things. And if you don't catch all the 10 things, you can revisit the video, or you can reach out to me on Christina P. Hill, and I'd be happy to give them to you again. It's 10 things. So you're going to write a story about you. When's the last time you wrote a story about yourself? We write stories about everything else. We help everybody else all the time. This is part of your self-care, is to write a story about yourself. First thing you want to do is write down, what is your current relationship with your food? How do you use it? Are you using it as a coping mechanism? Are you using it to substitute for something else that's lacking in your life? So, what is your current relationship with food? Is number one. Number two, what food means the most to you? Like, what does it mean to you? Are you just using it for fuel and nutrition? Or do you use it to celebrate? Do you use it as coping? What does food really mean to you? And I want you to take your time through these steps. There's no hurry. This is your story. So you're writing your story now. Okay. Number three, how do you cope with your emotions? When you go through tough times, when you go through great times, happy times, how do you react? How do you deal with your emotions? Okay, so let's write that down. Number four, your physical environment and your circumstances right now. So look around your physical environment. What does your physical environment include? What are your life circumstances right now, and how are they affecting you? Okay, how are you being affected by your environment? Loves, that's important. What we have around us, what we listen to, what we watch, it really does affect us, and it affects your emotions, which can also affect how you respond to food. So really look at that one, your physical environment and your circumstances and how it affects you. Number five, we have personal preferences when it comes to food. What do you like to eat? What is your preferred preference? What do you, when you go out and you look at something, what are you usually drawn to? Look at that. And then ask yourself why you may be attached to that food. It could come from number six, social influence may influence how you eat. Number seven, your family dynamics around food could be how these number five is affected. And then, so you'll want to look at five, which is your personal preference when it comes to food. Number six, social influence, how your social gatherings, how your life, how social media, because social media can have a big impact on people's lives and their nutrition, on who you're listening to, the fad diets that come out. I lost 10 pounds in 5 days type of things. Those sort of things. How is that influencing you in your long-term health? Because we're looking long-term. We're not looking short-term. We're looking long-term because you want something that's sustainable. Okay. So then we move to seven, your family dynamics around food. Did you grow up where you were trained? And my parents I had a beautiful mother, and a wonderful dad. And we were trained to eat everything on our plate, period. You didn't get up to eat everything off your plate. You had to finish it all. And I understand now that when my body says I'm full. I don't have to eat everything on my plate. But it took me a long time to get there because of my family dynamics around food and how it affected me. And I didn't really realize that until I started to analyze how I ate and to write my own story, to see like, oh, wow, this really does impact how I eat. I was taught and trained like from baby up, I guess, because, for all those years, eat everything, whatever's on your plate, you have to eat it all, period. Even if you're full, eat it all. You just have to eat it all. And I understand now that came from a sense of lack, that we may be lacking something in our other parts of our lives. So you get this good meal in you, it'll sustain you, right? But we also need to know that we have to listen to our bodies when they're full, they are full. And it's okay to push that plate away and say, you know what? I don't have to finish everything on my plate. That was enough right there. And then number 8, how do the members of your family relate to food? You may not think that that has much to do with how you relate to food, but family has a big impact on us and how we relate to food. If everyone in your family happens to be heavy and you're heavy also, when you decide to make a life change, when you decide to take control of your health, it may affect how they feel about themselves. And instead of them addressing it with themselves, they may address it on you. Another show we've seen is where a guy was trying to lose weight and his mother kept feeding him this food that was not good for him. And so the doctor's like, you and your mother have to separate. You can't be in the same house because she's not allowing you to make those changes. And he wasn't strong enough. So look at that. How do your family members relate to food? Okay. Number 9, what are your traditional foods? Okay. I have my traditional foods and I love greens. Anybody know I love collard greens. I love them. That's some I love. But I had to look at how to make them healthier. Okay. And for me, because traditionally how it was made wasn't healthy enough for me, okay, and for my body and what my body needs. So I had to look at my traditional food and see like, okay, I need to make some adjustments to this food when I want to eat it. Also, the way we were raised to eat sweet potatoes, there was a lot of sugar that was added, a lot of sugar and stuff added to the sweet potatoes. And I had to learn how to make sweet potatoes in a different way that I could still enjoy as my traditional food and it be tasty, because it can be tasty. You just have to learn. You just have to experiment, guys. Just experiment. It works. You can try different things. And so, yes, my traditional foods had a lot of impact on my life until I found other ways to eat them in a healthier way. Number 10, how does your culture contribute to the foods you eat? That goes along with number 9 as well. How does your culture eat? You know, some cultures have a lot of starch in their diets. Some cultures have like, eat more vegetables or more of have a vegetarian lifestyle. Some people are just real big meat eaters. How does your culture contribute to the foods you eat? So those 10 things are your story. So I'd really love you to spend time today or tomorrow, the next couple of days, to go through and write your own story, so you can get a view of uh, what's your story about. Like mine would be my Christina story, with food, and then you can see where you may have some opportunities to do better. Okay. And like we said, we do everything out of love. There's no judgment. We hold space for you. We're able to write documents over, to send them over to your doctor to tell them about your progress. And you know what? All that starts with a 15-minute conversation to see if you're ready to make those changes. Mr. Hill, anything before we go today?
Wow, what a wonderful show. Just want to thank you for that toolkit. And like I said, there was a lot of information given. So if you didn't catch it all, we just want to encourage you just to, watch this again or just reach out. She'll get you the full list of those things. And here's what I want to encourage you to do is look at those answers as information.
Yes.
Just look at it as information, not judgment, not that you're good, bad, or indifferent. And believe me, as I always like to tell my wife, I'm not coming down from a mountain with 2 tablets. Believe me, I understand. I'll give you just a quick example of this morning. I got on the scale and was not happy with the numbers. And I had to go through that little emotional, for a bit. Then I said to myself, they're just numbers. It's just feedback. It's just information. I had to detach the emotion from it. I had an emotional connection with the number, and I had to detach the emotion and the judgment of all that we're talking about. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. And all that judgment that comes up.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so as you go through these 10 things, and it's a tool to help you, you
Mhm.
have to at some point, and maybe you need somebody to help you with this. Maybe you can't do it on your own, and that's okay. Maybe you need somebody to help you pull yourself back from the judgment. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're
No.
in control. It doesn't mean all
Mhm.
the emotional baggage that we bring to numbers, that we
Yeah.
bring to calories, that we bring to food, that we bring to relationships. And so that's all I want to say. Please, please, please take advantage of these 15 minutes. I like to call them your 15 minutes. They're
Yes.
your 15 minutes when you can be heard, when you can, and with no judgment. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. So many people don't have a space like that in their life at all.
Mhm.
Either they're lonely, or they're in an environment like you mentioned earlier that's not very supportive. If
Mhm.
they were to say something like that, they get all kind of blame, and oh, you shouldn't feel that way, or you should feel this way, or I can't believe you're saying that. So they just pull back. They just pull back. And we want you to be open. We want you to be honest, because we can't solve, or we can't heal from things that we deny. Anyway, it's been a pleasure for me to be here. I'm going to turn this back over to my wife, and we're going to get you guys out of here.
Yes, I want to say my loves, and I always say my loves because healing our bodies is so important to me. I wish there was times when I could have healed um, my parents, done more for them in the healing part of nutrition, and so it's very close and dear to my heart. Someone needs to have space, and I know you're out there today that you need someone to hold space for you. I just want to let you know I'm here. And then also, I want to let you guys know next week, we're going to discuss how stress affects your body. Okay. And how it affects that primary plate. What stressor is on that primary plate? We talked about that's going to affect your secondary plate, which is your food. We're going to talk about that next week, loves. All right. See you later. Bye bye.